Hello and welcome back to another college football reaction video. So, both games got played, and I was right on both of them. I 2-0. Miami won and Indiana won. I could not be happier. Just because it shows how smart I truly am and I know ball. But I do want to react to these. Just like take a look at some stats because I watched both games, parts of them. I didn't watch the full game. And then what I want to do is predict the national championship. So let's get right to it. So the first game that went off was the Miami Hurricanes beating the Ole Miss Rebels 31 to 27. So Miami and their quarterback Carson Beck had a pretty decent game. Carson Beck did throw a pick, but he got 268 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Mark Fletcher Jr., that dude went off, but he didn't get a rushing touchdown. Shamar Brown did, and Carson Beck did too, even though he had negative yards. But that's because, and I looked this up, college football counts sacks as negative rushing yards, which I thought was kind of weird. Receiving was led by Keelan Marion with 7 receptions for 114 and a touchdown. And then Malachi Tony with 5 receptions for 81 and a touchdown. So those were the two leading receivers that got them pretty much their main scores. And then the defense only sacked Ole Miss's quarterback once. Didn't have a great game. They did let up 27 points. But in the end, they did get the job done with their kicker, Carter Davis, kicking them 7 very needed points. He did miss one field goal, though, but it is what it is. He is still a college kicker. But now we got to take a look at Ole Miss because I want to try and figure out what went wrong here, other than Miami putting up 14 points in 2 different quarters. But Ole Miss's quarterback Trinidad Chambliss went 23 for 37, 277 and 1, and their running back Kwan Lacey went 11 for 103 and 1. So it was really just a lack of scoring from what it seems like from the box score, but the top 2 lead receivers were not the ones that got the touchdown, but it was Daquan Wright that did off of 3 receptions for 64 yards. The defense did sack Carson Beck 3 times and picked him off once, but other than that, and 9 tackles from TJ Daugherty, they didn't really do an awful lot. They did let up 31 points, but you can only do so much with a team that is kind of on a roll. The only reason why they were even close to being in this game was because of their kicker, Lucas Carniero, who did get them 13 points. He did miss one, but in the end it didn't really matter because even if he did, the score still would have been 31-30. Overall, this game was really fun to watch, but there is one more thing that I did want to look at, and it was the time of possession. Miami had this ball, had the ball for more than 2/3 of the game. And yet they still let Ole Miss score 27 points. And that's what's worrying me about them playing the Hoosiers. Because the Hoosiers can get down the field and score like that. And it's pretty much what Ole Miss did. But the Hoosiers like to have the ball for a little bit. Just because they kept having 15 play drives, Miami did. And then the Hoosiers were just behind that with 10 play drives or something. But it's just unbelievable that Miami was able to keep this ball for 41 minutes. But it just shows that their defense isn't that good. Because the defense just lets them get right downfield, and then the offense just runs a bunch of plays and then punches a touchdown in. So, I just can't believe that Miami had the ball for that long. But, they still got the win. They're still playing. They're not technically the home team, even though it is their stadium. It's kind of the same thing that happened with Super Bowl 55 with the Bucks and Brady going there because they weren't the designated home team, but it was their stadium. But regardless, Miami moves on to their first national championship, and Ole Miss just goes home and is trying to get their quarterback another year of college eligibility. But now we got to go to the next game. And now we have the absolute blowout that happened between the Indiana Hoosiers and the Oregon Ducks. And something that I thought was really funny after seeing the score of this game and watching it for a little bit was that some people were going into this game being like, but the people, you're underrating Oregon. And then they let up 56 points and lost the game. by 34. So I just got to take a look at Oregon here because Dante Moore didn't seem like he had a bad game. That interception wasn't great, though, from what I saw it as, but put up almost 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then, he got sacked a bunch, but it is what it is. You can only do so much. But, he kept getting pressured. That was the thing that I was the most shocked about. He kept getting pressured on every single throw. He didn't have the time to do anything. Oregon's O-line, I truly believe, is what lost them this game, because if not, then he would have, even if he had 3 more seconds, Oregon easily could have been in this game. But the lead rusher was Darier Hill off of 5 carries for 86 yards, no touchdown. The rushing touchdown went to Jay Harris. Receiving was led by their touchdown scorer, Jamari Johnson, as Jeremiah McClellan got 5 receptions for 64 yards. The defense sacked Fernando Mendoza only once and didn't pick him off either. So the defense wasn't really playing great either. So it was kind of like the O-line and the defense as a whole. But, when you let up 56 points, something is clearly wrong. Oregon's kicker, though, did miss a field goal and only put up 2 points off the extra points that were after the touchdowns, obviously. But even if he did hit that one, obviously it wouldn't have mattered. But now taking a look at this absolute legacy game by Fernando Mendoza, where he only completed 17 passes for 177 yards, but he racked up 5 touchdowns. He himself was responsible for more points than Oregon scored in the entire game. But their rushing leader, Kaleon Black, got 12 carries for 63 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Now, out of the 5 passing touchdowns that Fernando Mendoza threw, 2 of them went to Elijah Surratt off of 7 receptions for 75 yards, and then those 2 touchdowns. Charlie Becker got 1 off of 2 receptions for 48 yards. Omar Cooper Jr. got 1 off of 3 receptions for 17 yards, and E.J. Williams Jr., the touchdown was his only reception, and he got 13 yards. And the defense only sacked him 3 times, which is something that I was very shocked about, just because of how often it seemed like they just had him completely dead to rights down. But they only got 3 recorded sacks. They did pick him off once. And their kicker, Quinn Warren, didn't get any points. So I don't know how that's true. But, yeah, that's really weird. Unless he just missed all of the extra points, which would kind of suck. But, no, there's no way, right? Because 5 times 6 is 30. Yeah, something's up with this kicking stat, but honestly, that's okay because they still scored, 7 touchdowns? So, with or without the kicking stat, Indiana Hoosiers completely dominated the Ducks here. But now it is time for my prediction of the 2026 National Championship that is in Hard Rock Stadium. So, I kind of already addressed it a little bit. Miami had a lot of possession time. If they can do this against Indiana, then I think they have a chance. I really do. I really believe that if Miami can keep the ball for more than 40 minutes again, then they have a chance. And that is on the stipulation that Fernando Mendoza doesn't get 7 touchdowns in the rest of the 20 minutes that Miami would give them. However, I don't think that that's going to happen. I really do believe that Indiana has the better team here, clearly, because they put up 56 points against the Oregon Ducks. They've blown out almost every single opponent. They're undefeated. So, my official prediction is the Indiana Hoosiers are going to be national champions for their first in franchise history. I think the final score of this game is going to be 49-27. I was going to say 24, but I added another field goal in there. I think he's going to go for 3, miss 1, get 2. There'll be 3 touchdowns, all 3 probably going to be throwing from Carson Beck. I do think there will be another 3 touchdowns that happen on the ground for Indiana. And then I think the other 4 are going to happen through the air with Fernando Mendoza probably completing anywhere between 25 to 30 passes. I think this is going to be a pretty pass heavy game. But no matter what, the way that I see it is Carson Beck will have an all right game. I think he will throw a pick against this Indiana Hoosiers defense, though. But I think that's just going to happen. It's bound to happen at some point. And Carson Beck has that very funny snap that he sent out that's going around. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm not going to put it on screen, but I think it's absolutely hilarious. Or maybe I might put it on screen. I don't know. But I do think Fernando Mendoza is going to have another legacy game. I think if they do a national championship MVP, which I'm not sure, I'm not as much of a ball knower about the national championship as I am in the NFL. But if they do, then I think it'll go to Fernando Mendoza, and then Fernando Mendoza will sadly be shipped away to the Las Vegas Raiders. But that is going to do it for today's prediction video. So the next one that will be happening will be the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Obviously, I'm going to do a separate reaction video for that one and then a predictions video just because there's enough games in between. I just did it this way for this one because it's only 3 games. And then another thing I might do is like play the national championship on college football. I don't know what side I would play on because I think playing on Indiana wouldn't be fair. But if I play on Miami, then I think I could win. But I'll see what I do. Thanks again for watching. These Madden head-to-head videos are blowing up right now. I've gained 3 subscribers in the past 2 days. Or 3 now, I think, because it's Sunday. But yeah, this is unbelievable. I wasn't expecting to gain any subscribers. I wasn't expecting 3 of my videos to have 100+ views. That's ridiculous to me. But and I'm so grateful for it because I'm gonna be honest, I don't put in a ton of work into this. I don't write very elaborate scripts. I just kind of go with it. But thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.